G'day guys, welcome back to the Fond Supercoach YouTube channel. Today we are doing a team update, probably the second last one. Obviously the next one will happen after opening round. But yeah, let's get into it. I just want to preface this team update with, I think we are going to have some carnage, some rookie carnage, come team sheets on round one. So I'm going to have a few alternate options for if that does unfold. And I can discuss other rookie options, mid-prices, that sort of stuff. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm just going to go through, pick each player that I've got and give a brief reason why I've got them. And afterwards, I'll talk about some guys who I am considering. So at D1, I have Jack Sinclair. I'll talk about Nazire afterwards, but I just think Sinclair's role is really good. I think he has the backline mostly to himself. I think Windhager will do a fair few defensive type jobs throughout the year, and I think he is going to need to do that because I think that Saints midfield, even though it has a lot of star power at the moment, it does have some defensive deficiencies, so I think they are going to use him in that way. But yeah, really liked what I saw from Sinclair on the weekend. It was pretty much what I anticipated, and I do not want to fade that or his really good designated kicker run at the start of the season. Lachie Whitfield is D2 for me. Really like his opening fixture once again. And I don't want to fade it. I think there's a real argument for picking Ash over Whitfield. They're fundamentally the same, but I've gone with Whitfield because I think he cashes in on the good matchups a little bit harder. I also don't rate Lachie Ash's kicking as much, so that's why I have gone for Whitfield. And then at D3, I have someone who I am getting a little bit of cold feet on, who is Colby McKercher. I just don't think his role is as good as what we think it will be. But alas, I have him for now anyway. Protected by ownership a little bit. And I think we're going to need to take the punt on some of these value options, as I mentioned at the start of the video. I'll discuss that a little bit more once we get to the end. And at D4, I have my boy Caleb Windsor. I've been hot on this pick since December. Nothing has changed since the practice games. Really like what I saw. Love the role. I think Melbourne are going to give it to him as much as possible. Locking him in at D4 for me. And then we're on to the rookies. So Josh Lindsay at D5. I think he's West Coast's best kick already. And I think that bodes well for a rookie. Not a massive accumulator, but was good enough at finding the footy on the weekend. And he was taking kick-ins. So we love to see all of that. Think he's fieldable. Whether or not we're going to have the capacity to field him is another story. We'll get to that later. I currently have Lockie Jakes at D6 from the Bulldogs. I didn't think he was particularly good on the weekend. His ball use early was a little bit poor, and he wasn't getting as involved as he did in that first practice game. I think he gets the nod early, but it is worth noting that, what's this guy's name? Lachlan Carmichael is healthy again, and the initial mail at the start of the preseason prior to his injury was that he had the nod over guys like Jakes and Selwood, who played on the weekend. So this one is a big watch for me. I'm not convinced we get this guy, but I've got him for now. And at D7, I have Jai Sarong. I will probably end up fielding Sarong over Jakes, but obviously I get a look in round 0 to see how they're going either way. I thought Sarong was really good in the monsoon. Used the ball well when others couldn't, and he showed that versatility that he could play wing. Sydney wingers generally don't score too bad, so I don't mind this pick at all. And at D8, I have Wade Dirksen, who we are a little bit concerned about whether or not he'll be picked for round 0. Now, I am confident that he is better than both McGovern and, what's the other plonker's name? Lewis Young. So I think he should play over them. I'm not the coach. I don't pick the side. So we will see about that. All right. Smash through the defense. The defense hasn't changed much for me at all across this preseason. It's really been about which premiums do I want. There is no Connor Rozee in here. He's in the midfield. We'll talk about him in a second. So let's get into the midfield at M1. Shouldn't surprise anyone. Zach Butters. We saw on the weekend what he does to teams that he gets a hold of. He's got a really good fixture. He's going to get a hold of some teams. Number 1 captain's option in the first 6 or so weeks, in my opinion. So I am locking him in. And then I have Nick Dacos at M2. The fixture early isn't great. I'm very keen to see what happens in round 0 because I think Ross the boss will go after him. I want to see the levers that Collingwood pull when that happens. And if I don't like what I see, I could see myself going elsewhere. But there's a fair bit of water to go under that bridge. I have maintained over the last few weeks that I think Nick Dacos is going to start beating a lot of these tags this season. Worth noting that Toby Bedford may come back for round 3. And he will obviously get a Wagner tag in round 5, but I do believe he got a hold of Wagner in the last game. Although maybe Wagner didn't play this, I don't know. But alas, I have Nick Dacos for now. He does immense damage when he is not getting attention. So I love the pick. M3, we have a new player in here, one of my personal favourites. Daddy Cool, aka Jordan Dawson. Absolutely love watching this guy go about it. He's one of the best transition scorers in football, so the rules, if they do affect players, should affect him quite well. Obviously has the round 12 bye, but I have moved along some of these round 12 bye guys so that I can fit him in. So yeah, really like him. He's one that will likely make way if I need more mid prices, i.e. I don't think the rookies will be good. M4, I have Connor Rozee. Shouldn't surprise anyone. I'm not concerned at all about the role on the weekend. Horn Francis was essentially being rested despite playing through the forward line. No Miles Bergman, who I think will still play a good chunk of midfield minutes. And then no Ollie Wines, who isn't playing because he's suspended for the first 2 weeks and Port are practicing their first 2 weeks. So still really love Connor Rozee. I think if he does play midfield, he can still give you 105. Doesn't present the same level of value, but I will still take that nonetheless. Errol Goulden, M6, another one of my favourite players. Errol's lethal left is going to be kicking laser beams to Charlie Curnow, and I want every single bit of that. Really love this. His ankle is absolutely fine, according to the Swans, so I am locking Errol in at M5, batting really deep in the midfield, as I think many will come the start of round 1. Hayden Young had an ankle complaint today. The Dockers are saying he is absolutely fine. Hayden Young, I think, is the one who can score really well for Freo. I think there is primo potential here, even in the midfield, just quietly. And if he spends enough time forward, he's a lock for top 6 forward. So really love Hayden Young. Good contest player, tackles, and a lethal user by foot. So no-brainer for mine. Lock him in. Darcy Parish at M7. As I said, batting really deep here. Just has the role. For some reason, Brad Scott moves heaven and earth inside of his centre bounce mixes to get Darcy Parish in. He will be there for me until at least round 3, where he may or may not look no good. But for me, he seems like a no-brainer now. We know what Parish can do with the role. We've seen it so many times. Even though he's not very damaging, he can still give you 100 points. So locking him in. And then the one rookie midfielder I have on the field is the man who moves like Jagger Smith. Looked a lot like Nick Dacos, and like somewhere between Nick Dacos and Lachie Neale, in my opinion, in that practice game. Smooth mover, smart decision maker, gets to good spots. I think this guy is going to make bulk cash, and I am really keen to watch his career unfold. So that is my on-field midfielders. I will jump down into the flex really quickly, where I have another midfield mid-pricer, Xavier Lindsay. I think there's a lot of ball in that Melbourne defence that's going to be available to him. He's taking the bulk of the kick-ins. CJ can't kick, so I don't think he's going to get a huge amount of usage. Salem does no damage, so I think I'm taking Lindsay over him every day of the week when it comes to usage. So one that I'm really confident in. I think he's very important to Melbourne as that general in defence. I think Stephen King is pretty keen to give the keys to some of these talented young guys. So really like Xavier Lindsay. Moving on to my mid-bench. I have Sam Grill, the Griller. He's fine. I'm keen to see him on the G. I think the G will suit him. Obviously, Richmond play a fair few games there, although they have sold some home games to Tasmania this year, which probably isn't great. But yeah, like what I saw from him. I think worst case, he can give me 60, which would be enough to make 130k. I prefer him over Farrow because I think he is better at accumulating, even though I think that Farrow is a little bit more composed and a better ball user and decision maker. You still need the ball to score Supercoach points, and Grill gets the ball more, so he's in for now. I'm also a little bit concerned that Farah isn't picked round 1, but I am also concerned whether or not I'm concerned about Dyson Sharp not being picked round 1 either. For now, he is at M10. I liked what he did in a poor role on the weekend. At some point, he should get a go in the middle, so I've got him for now. But I can see myself moving him on. And then I have our Lord and Saviour, Tom Blamiers, is apparently how you say his name, at M11. Thought he looked really good. Again, I would play this guy over Caleb Daniel. Not sure the coach will see that way, or see it that way, but really liked what I saw from him, and I think I'd almost be confident fielding, although he was playing against a bunch of plumbers on the weekend. So no disrespect for plumbers, better football players than accountants like me. So yes, I have Tom Blamiers in there for now, but could see this blowing up as well. Ruck line is the main difference for me. No Tristan Cherry this week. I have Tim English. Cherry's run is really good, but so is Tim English's. He's about 90k cheaper. That cash really matters for me, so I've got him here. I'm also a little bit concerned, not about Cherry's ability to score. I'm concerned about the coach in the coach's box, Alistair Clarkson. I think he's going to play Coleman Jones with enough ruck time to hinder Cherry's scoring. He's also a little bit disarmed in the centre bounces. He's not a particularly profound ruck tap jumper type ruck. So I think that limits him a little bit. Willing to let the rucks play out a little bit more and just pick a guy who is a bit cheaper, who I think can push those top guys anyway. So Tim English is in for me. At 2, I have Lachlan McAndrew, who I thought was quite good. I think there is a little bit, as Stephen A. Smith would say, there's cause for pause with this pick. His 2 matchups in the preseason were Dante Vicentini and Mason Cox. They don't scream tough matchups to me. I know Cox has generally had a good hit-out win percentage, but that's generally based on his height. I'm not sure about how we go with McAndrew, but it looks like Nix is picking the team to support him in the fact that he's picking Toby Murray to play like the ruck forward split as well, instead of using Phil Thorpe in there. So I have Lockie McAndrew for now, and I have the donkey at 3, Liam Reedy. Yeah, don't like this pick. Would love to pick Coleman Jones or someone instead, but I don't think you can pick a guy who's getting 30% TOG. May go down to Kalani White. This guy is a huge watch for me in round 0. So yeah, just not really keen on this pick. Wouldn't mind going down to a loop, but ideally I'd get a playing R3. All right, in the forward line, Harry Sheasel is the lock of all locks, so not really worth discussing him. And the next one I have is Petrarca. So my problem with forwards at the moment is it's not very clear to me outside of Sheasel, Petrarca, and Flanders who is going to challenge for that top 6. I think we're going to get guys like Rowan Marshall and Took Miller at the very least. We may also get Harley Reid. We could get Hayden Young. Like, there's a whole bunch of guys we could get here, so I don't really want to go all in on the Rochellis, the Connor McDonalds, De Goey types, who I have not a lot of faith in, and I think they're priced too highly to make enough cash. So yeah, I have Petrarca at F2, who I think is a guaranteed top 6. In a normal season, I don't think he would be must pick, but where a lot of the primos are a little bit sus, I don't mind taking the punt on Christian Petrarca. As I mentioned, Sam Flanders is at F3. No-brainer for mine. I'm not as bullish on him scoring huge Supercoach points as others because of Sinclair, Nass, and Filippo in the same side. But he should give us enough to be a premium. So absolute lock in my eyes. And so is Mateus in the same midfield as him. Worst case, I think this guy makes 200k. Like, that is genuinely the floor, unless he gets injured. And I think best case is he's a keeper. So absolute no-brainer. There are 38% of teams without him. I suggest the 38% of you without Mateus Filippo, you change your mind. He is a no-brainer. Todd Marshall comes in at F5 for me. Really liked what I saw on the weekend. Obviously not a good opponent. And even though West Coast weren't good, there was still enough supply into that defence that Todd Marshall could get the ball. I have a feeling that he will be persisted with for a while because I'm not convinced his defence is much worse than their alternatives in Radigalia and Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. And obviously, they're trialling another young, raw key defender in Ram back there as well. So I think Todd Marshall will be safe enough for now. They moved him back there because of his ball use, which looked quite good on the weekend. So I think he holds for a while and should be long enough to make at least 100k in cash. F6 is Dev Robertson, who gave us almost a ton on the weekend. Just a good tackler. I didn't tackle much on the weekend, but was getting bulk CBAs. Again, another one of these no-brainer type picks for mine. Leo Lombard is at F7 for me. There's a few small forwards that you can take a punt on here. I'll talk about a few of them later. I'll give a little bit of a ranking. But I think Lombard is the best of them. Gets up the ground and tackles a lot. Has the best VFL numbers. So I really like Leo Lombard at F7. Think he's probably fieldable, particularly in good matchups, which the Suns have a lot of early on. And last but not least, I have Artie Jones here. I'm not sure. He's 12%. I don't think this will be popular, but I think his job security is really good. And I think he gets up the ground enough to warrant picking. I know he has some genuinely awful scoring history. Like if I go 20, 25, 10, 24, 20, 33. Dreadful. And I believe in 2024 there is in one of these games there is a playing... No, it's not a 0. He had 0 touches in a game against the Giants. I don't know when that was. Anyway, poor scoring history. I understand that. 4th year in the system. Bevo clearly rates him. I think he gives that Dogs forward line something that they have lacked, which is a bit of speed and sort of unpredictability, if you like. So I really like Artie Jones at this spot. There are a host of small forwards that you could justify picking over Artie Jones. So I'm going to talk about a few of them in a second. So as far as premiums go, I'm not really considering any others. Sorry, I hate this message, so I'm just going to pop some emergencies on really quick. There's not really any others that I'm too considering. So Nazai is very popular. I think Nazai is going to fall into the Dacos and Butters camp where teams pull tags out of their ass essentially to try and quell his influence. Obviously, Nazai can go forward, which is a little bit of a different string to his bow compared to Butters and Dacos. However, the scoring for a forward is generally not very good. And I know he kicked 4 against Essendon, but no one against Essendon went anywhere near him. That is not going to happen in the real stuff. So that's why I don't have Nazai. He probably cooks early. Like, if you look at the Saints run, Melbourne's not going to go anywhere near him. Bedford may be back for round 2. I mentioned that with Dacos. I don't think anyone from Brisbane will specifically go near him, but I think they'll have a plan for him. Adelaide, we've seen Adelaide try and tag, and it's diabolical. Obviously, West Coast. Port may go after him. Like, obviously, West Coast isn't going to. Carlton won't. Okay, this... Yeah, this might be a tough watch. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not convinced by Nazai's contest work, if that's the one criticism I had of him. So we'll see. Maybe teams can just have a run on him on the outside and not have to pay too much attention to him. Otherwise, again, I still think teams will just pull tags out of their ass to go after him. So I think he'll be a good starting pick. I just think I'll be able to get him cheaper at some point during upgrade season. So that is Nazai. Like, obviously, this Sydney GWS back-to-back is going to be tough for Nazai because it's going to be James Jordan into presumably Toby Bedford with Tom Green out for the whole season. So that's where I stand on Nazai. I mentioned Ash before. I don't really like how he kicks the footy. He's a little bit Luke Ryan, where I'm not convinced that his scoring is what the Giants need to win. But I think the Giants, without Tom Green, are going to be in a little bit of trouble this season. So the ball should be back there a fair bit. I still think Ash will be a keeper. But he is prone to have like a couple of flourish. Like, flourish only has to be 90 for him as well. So... and there was a couple of absolute... like 80, 95 here. Obviously, there was some great consistency here. But like, there's a 43 against North. Like, how can that happen? Did he get attention in this game? Maybe he did. I don't know. But yeah, like I think he's going to drop at some point. Is all I'm trying to say. His usage isn't great. I don't really like any of the options at McKercher's price. Bergman, I'm not sure about his role. Trent Rivers, I don't think is a good enough midfielder to push a top 6 defender. And then Banks, no idea about his role. So don't really love any of those options. And then other than that, like I don't mind Sam Walsh, but I'm a little bit concerned about his back. So I've let that one go. And then Pickett is another forward premium who is popular, because Pickett that is, who I have faded because I don't love his role. So I think Cozzy's going to play a lot of forward time, so that pick is not for me. So yeah, what happens if we don't get Lockie Jakes and Wade Dirksen like is being suggested at the moment? So the lever I have to pull here is something along the lines of this. Let's move Rosie to defense. Not Rizzy. Here we go. So this is not a mid-pricer I'm keen on, but Lachlan Blackstone, number 1 ruck role. I don't think he can give us much more than 75, if I'm going to be honest, which is probably enough in this season, where it's going to be a little bit crazy to generate cash, particularly if we get no rookies. But this is not a pick that I'm keen on, but may be forced into doing. And then there's a couple more through the midfield as well. So Tanner Bruhn and Harry Ralston. So this is my pivot if I am unable to select the rookies that I want to select. So mainly Jakes and what's the other guy's name? Dirksen. So yeah, that's one lever I have to pull. There is another thing I can do where if we don't get Jakes and Dirksen, I can just go something along the lines of Grill. Don't know why that's not working. I can go Grill to defense. And I can go Chase Jones. And Tanner Bruhn comes out. I can go Artie Jones into the middle. I can go Dawson here, and then I just have to pick a premium, really. I'm priced out of Dawson with Doveston, so if I put Dawson in here, Dawson's the one I really like, so let's put Dawson in here. So 113. Who would that leave me with? I don't think that can get me Murray. They can get me Tobin Murray, but I'm not keen on Tobin Murray. I was obviously not Doveston, priced out of Harrison. So I think Byrne would be the only one. But the reality is if this happens, I'm probably just not going to be able to pick Dawson. It's going to really look like Doveston. And let me actually just do this. I'll move Lindsay here. This way I can pick whatever premium I want. Ideally, it wouldn't be a buy guy. Let's just scroll down. Like, I could go Ash. I really dislike the Freo premiums. I'm not big on lead either. Like, ideally, it would not be a buy guy. But as you can see, we're kind of limited in the buy guys, the non-buy guys. And the only one that I'm half tempted by is Luke Davies-Uniacke. But this guy is... like, he's top 3 hardest owns, I think, for premiums. Like, he has games where he's just looking disinterested, skirting around the contest, not interested in getting involved. So I'm going to be hard pressed to go there. Like, there's no other way for me to make cash, really. So I may end up having to do that. Like, he will still be value, at least. So worst case, he just holds price and you can flip him at the buy, but don't love this. Walsh, I don't mind, but then I have 6. I think it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'd be 7 buy premiums. I don't like that at all. I don't like it at all. So yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe if Lombard goes big, I can go Rankin, which would be an interesting pod. But then I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he would be my 6th premium on the round 12 bye, which I could stomach. I could stomach that, but again, I'd prefer not to. I'm not starting Riley Philthorpe. Key forwards you can always get cheaper. They're not worth starting in my opinion. So that's sort of where my head's at with that. I don't know even if that's feasible. I don't know what the fixture is. I'll check it in a second. So let me do this properly. So let's go into how I want to line up, which is like this. Grill. Rosie. I've done it again. Rosie. Okay, I'm making so many changes. I'm getting a little bit manic. I had some pre-workout before, so that might be why I'm a little bit manic. Dawson, so my apologies for that. Jakes. And Wade Dirksen. So this is where I'm at for now. As I said, I'm a little bit concerned about when teams drop on Thursday. I think there's going to be a little bit of carnage. I would advise all of you. I know some people are just anti-mid-pricer because it is riskier. But I would advise you all to really have an assessment of the mid-prices available and pick a side that is higher on mid-prices, assuming we don't get some of the rookies. Obviously, if we get all the rookies we want, it's fine. You just pick your rookies, pick the mid-prices you like as normal. But if not, you are going to be forced into some mid-prices you are likely uncomfortable with, as I would be with Bruin, Rouston, and Blackstone. All three mid-prices I'm not really keen on. But realistically, they are all underpriced, so they should make some money still. But yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm thinking. Let me know how you're going with your team set up below. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you after opening round. Really keen to have some footy back. So yeah, let me know who you're watching for opening round. And let me know how you're going building your teams. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you next time.